Hello, this is Christy Fulk with Create with Christy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm here to demonstrate a card that I made a long time ago and I totally forgot to make a video on it. And I just love this Cardinal. If you love it too, I've got good news. This stamp set and die set will be available even after January 2nd. They're not going to retire it, it's going to carry over. Now the one thing, if you want to get the stamp set and the dies, you'll save more money if you do get it before January 2nd and purchase the bundle. When you purchase the bundle, you get 10% off, but the bundle's retiring, but you can still buy the stamp set and dies later. And another thing that's going to be carrying over but won't be back until the next holiday catalog is the Toile Tidings DSP that I've got back here. So if you want that and not have to wait till next year, then you want to get it before January 2nd. If you're okay to get it next year, it'll be back when the new holiday catalog comes out in September. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first off, I'm going to show you the Toile Christmas Bundle. Like I said, the bundle you can get through January 2nd, and then after January 2nd, you have to purchase these separately. But I just love the Cardinal in this, the berries, the greetings, and we've got banner dies that'll die cut these. Just a really neat set. Now what I'm going to be using today, I'm going to be using the Cardinal die, the single banner die, and this big berry vine die, and that's it. And the stamps I'll be using are the Cardinal, the vines, and this Christmas Wishes banner. Okay, you need a piece of 8.5 by 5.5 of real red cardstock. You fold it in half. I already had it scored. Put that over to the side. Now I'm going to bring in a piece of Very Vanilla. This is a 4.5 by 4.25. I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat. You don't have to have it with red rubber because this is a cling set, so it is red rubber. But I still like to have that support underneath. I'm going to bring my Cardinal in. Actually, I'm going to stamp it this way. And my Tuxedo Black Memento. Make sure I get him covered up really, really good. That looks pretty good, especially that face. Isn't he gorgeous just on the stamp? Okay, so I'll put him here, stamp him on. Then I'm going to stamp the berries. Let's see if I did do this right. No, I think I'm going to make them fit. I probably would have done it different, but I think I'm going to make them fit. Had it in my head I was putting the banner on this piece, and I'm not. I forgot it was the big vine, so I think I got enough room. Let's see. Yep, that's going to work. Oh yeah, so there we've got those all ready to go. And we'll go ahead and start coloring these in. So I'm going to bring a scrap piece of paper. You'll be able to see I've used it a few times already, but it still works. I'm going to be using Stampin' Blends to color this guy in. These are the Real Red Stampin' Blends, Old Olive, and Mango Medley, right? Melody. Mango Melody. I always forget if it's Medley or Melody. Okay, I'm going to start with my dark color, and I'm going to put wherever I think there should be some darker shading on this Cardinal. That's what I'm going to use the dark Real Red with. So I'll speed this up so you don't have to watch me do it all, but I'll just be doing everything that I think needs to be darker with the dark Real Red. Okay, I think that'll do good. I'm not doing all of the lines because I'd be here forever. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to bring in my light Real Red. I'm going to color over the whole thing, including where I put the darker shading, because I want it to blend in so it looks a little more natural. Isn't he gorgeous? I don't know if you noticed, I missed this spot down here. I went ahead and went over it again with the light Real Red because I didn't think it was dark enough. Now I'm noticing some of my darker shades have gone away just a little bit too much, so I might have colored it a little too much, so I can just go back and add a little more of the dark again, but just very lightly. That looks pretty good. Okay, isn't he gorgeous? Okay, now I'm going to bring in the Mango Melody, and they're just little spots here that look like you can have a little darker, just these little bitty lines and along where his beak comes together. the top and bottom of his beak. And then I'll bring in the light and get it all colored in. There we go. So the cardinal's done. Now with these berries, they are really small, but I wanted them to be really dark. So I'm going to use my dark real red. I'm not going to worry about using two different colors because it's just about impossible to get shading in these little bitty berries. So we're just going to use the dark real red. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the old olive. Now with this, I am going to do some shading. So I'm going to use the dark old olive. And right along here in the middle of the leaves and a little bit where it looks like there's some veins in the leaves, I'm going to make them a little darker. I'm going to do that on all the leaves. And I'm even going to do that in a couple places on the stem where I think it should be darker. Okay, I didn't use a lot of dark. Maybe here, this looks like it could be a little darker on the actual stem, because it's pretty narrow. So now I'm going to use the light old olive and color in the rest of it. Once again, going over all the dark too to blend it in. Okay, now I even use the brush tip when it gets really, really narrow, because this point is pretty sharp. If you use a very light touch, I mean very light touch, it actually does a little better than the blunt side, I think. So that's all colored in and done. And now I'm going to go ahead and bring in a piece of old olive cardstock. This piece is 3 1/4 by 1 1/4. And this one, I'm going to emboss my Christmas wishes in gold embossing powder. So first up, I'm going to take my Versamark pad. Okay, I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat again so I get a good impression. Stamp that right in the middle. Doesn't have to be exact because it's going to be die cut. And I don't know if you can see that in the video, but it's got a watermark to it. But it's going to stay wet long enough for me to be able to emboss with it. So now I'm going to bring my gold embossing powder. Put this on, and I forgot to use my embossing buddy on top of this, so hopefully this is going to work out okay. See, a little bit of the gold is sticking where I don't want it. That's why I use my embossing buddy, because it takes any moisture. So I should have done that with the embossing buddy first, then stamped it with the Versamark and put the gold embossing powder on. But that worked out pretty good. I'm happy with that. A lot of times that doesn't work out very good, so I was going to have to edit the video. Okay, so now that that's ready, I'm going to take this out of the way because I don't want that to melt, because that does get hot with this heat tool. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go ahead and bring in an old silicone mat, because I don't want to be, there's one little area on here that I melted when I was doing a video once, and I don't want that to happen again. So I'm going to keep this at an angle so you can see it, and it'll start to melt and get shiny. And once it starts to melt, then I'm going to go to the next section. That's when I start moving. Okay, now you can see it's starting to get shiny, so now I'm going to start slowly moving it around until it's all done. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now it's all shiny. You don't want to do it too long because then it starts soaking into the cardstock, but that looks pretty good. And this mat is hot, but it withstands really hot areas. Now my area is fine. I don't know if you see this little dimple there. That was from when I didn't use that before. Okay, so that's ready to go. Okay, I had a little technical difficulty as I was recording this. The video stopped. So there are some things that you didn't see me do, but I can hurry up and show you real quick. I don't want to waste the things I just did. I already die cut these out. I was die cutting it, showing you how to do it, and it just quit on me and I didn't know it. Thankfully, I didn't get the whole card done. But you just line up the images directly inside the dies and die cut them. So that's how I die cut those. And then I also die cut this out with the banner. So you just make sure the image is directly inside there and die cut it. Okay, so we got those done. Now this is what I really want to show. Oh, and I did emboss this. This is with the woodland folder. We've had this one for a while. It's a thin one, so you need the 2 cutting pads with it. And I just make sure I put it in so some of these branches that are sticking up are definitely on there, because sometimes there are different places on here where you don't get that many of the branches coming up, and I wanted those. So that's it all done. And that's a 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece. And then this is the one I really wanted to show you how to do, that I can show you real quick. Pretend like this is just a piece of gold foil. You want to die cut it first. Now I think this part got cut out too, so I'm here to show you the dies. There's a rectangle die and an oval die, and it comes with the embossing folders. And these are the two embossing folders. Well, I'm using the oval one. So first you die cut the oval out. So this is what it came out of. So this is what was left over. So you could keep that oval for something else. So once that's die cut, then you take it and put it inside the folder and you line it up, and you want to make sure that the borders of the, or the edges are the same border around the outside of the embossed image. Close it up and then you run it through. And this is one of our 3D folders, so you need to use one of our embossing mats for that. So that's how that works. I'm sorry about that. I did not realize that it had quit working. So now we're up to speed. Get these out of the way. But that's how you emboss that. You always want to make sure you die cut, then emboss. Because if you emboss first, all that beautiful die cutting is going to get smashed in your die cutting machine. Isn't that pretty? I love that. Okay, let's start putting this together. Now I'm going to bring in my real red card base, and this is my 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of vanilla that I embossed with the Woodland embossing folder. And I'm going to bring my multi-purpose glue in. It's got a little dry glue on it. Okay. Oops, I almost did the wrong side. I'm going to turn this over. I always find it's easier to use the multi-purpose glue on embossed layers. It does a little better than the snail. It gets inside the grooves and helps it adhere better to your card. So I'm going to put that right in the center, like so. Okay, now I'm going to take a piece of the Toile Tidings DSP. This is a 3 3/8 by 2 3/8 piece, and that covers that oval very nicely. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of glue in each corner, just the corners of my DSP. I don't want it to go out too far, just enough that it'll hold it onto the frame. Okay? And I'm using the red. I'm going to stand up here and make sure I don't see any edges of the designer series paper. There you go, and just push that down and hold it in place for a little bit. See, there we go. And you want to make sure too that those corners aren't jutting outside of the frame, and I've got them inside. So that's ready to go. Isn't that pretty? And then I'm going to put, let's see, yeah, this one is just going to go on. I couldn't remember if I used dimensionals or not, but I'm just going to put it on the card. And I think I'm just going to put it on the designer series paper, since that's sticking up a little higher, maybe a little bit on the frame. Just like so. And then I'm going to stick it right in the middle of the card. Make sure that looks like a straight frame here. Hold that down for a little bit and rub really good on the designer paper. There, now it's stuck really good. Now I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm using the white ones. I'm going to cut off some of my trim here. Let's see, I don't know how many we want to use. Definitely want one on his head. Probably one on his tummy. I'm going to take one of these smaller ones here on the edge. As you see, I use every bit of my dimensionals. And I always keep them on the paper backing because it's a lot easier to use that way. Now the berries, I'm just going to put it on flat. So I'm going to go ahead and use my glue again. And I'm going to do it mainly on the stem here, because the berries are going to be hanging over a little bit from the, and the leaves a little bit from the frame. So I definitely want it on the stem part, on the inner part. So that looks pretty good. Just be a waste of glue if I put a bunch on the berries. And then I'm going to lay them down just like so. Hold that down for a little bit. And you do need to hold it a little bit on that foil. Oops, I'm getting glue on my fingers. That's why it's not sticking very good. There we go. Now, since this berry is going down on the designer paper, I think I'm going to put a little bit of glue right behind here so that'll stay down. But the berries that are hanging over the edge of the frame, I'm not going to mess with those because those are kind of popped up a little bit. There we go. Now it's stuck on good. Once the glue dries, it stays on the foil with no problem. Now I'm going to take the paper backing off of my beautiful Cardinal. See, it looks kind of neat in the back too, those dimensionals, the blends, how they go outside of soak through the paper. It's pretty cool. Okay, let's get him on my branch here. That looks pretty good. And now he's sticking up. Now I'm going to put the banner right here, but since he's already popped up, I don't want this popped up and be at an angle. So I'm going to put some regular glue here on one end, because this is the end that's going to be on the Cardinal that's already raised up. And then keep both ends at the same height. I'm going to cut off another one of these and put it on the end. And that should be good. So I'll take that paper backing off. And I'll put that right there. And that's it. That's our beautiful Christmas Cardinal card. I really love this one. I love the gold on it. That gold just really makes that Cardinal stand out. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you liked my video and like to see more, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel below in the bottom right corner of this video, and also have a link at the end of the video too. And if you want to be notified whenever I do a video, make sure you click on that little bell that's near the subscribe button. That way you'll get notified and you won't miss any of my videos. Again, I had a lot of fun making this card with you. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a Merry Christmas. And I've got some links below if you want to follow me on Facebook, Pinterest, or my blog. And if you want any of these products to make this card or any other Stampin' Up! Products you want to purchase, I'd love to be your demo. If you live in the United States, you can order from me, and I've got a link to my online store below. And I also have a Doily Rewards program that I do. And you'll want to learn how to, you could earn a $50 shopping spree. You have to collect 10 doilies in order to do so. You can find out more about that in the link below. See you soon. Bye.